Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Checkers Records podcast. I am your host, Carter Leonard, along with.
Adam Schwab.
Very, very nice. And welcome to episode 16. You know how much 16 is, Adam?
It's a good amount.
That's a 1 and a 6 put together, bro. How crazy is that shit?
It's crazy that we're this far into the season already.
Yeah, indeed. But yeah, in all seriousness though, welcome to episode 16, ladies and gentlemen. We're just gonna get right into it. This is gonna be a very long episode, as we are nearing the start of the truck race. By the time you guys are probably watching this episode, the truck race may already be going on tonight. But we're just gonna not gonna keep it our longest episode. But here we go. First up, we are gonna recap All Star Weekend. This past weekend, we were at North Wilkesboro for the first time in over 25 years. That is something that I would have never expected to say. But let's get right into the recap. Kyle Larson dominated the truck race. I mean, it was a pretty fine truck race. Nothing really the whole lot to talk about, to be honest.
I mean, it was a little more eventful than the All-Star race, I will say that. Still really good. I think some of that's because of the short track package for Cup cars.
Yeah, definitely. And I actually really liked how at the end there that the Bubba Wallace, who was in the Tricom One truck, actually tried to make something out of nothing, to be honest, and try to battle Kyle Larson for the lead. He ended up finishing fifth, but yeah, Kyle Larson. I believe this is like his third Truck Series win. He's not won like a whole lot of Truck Series races in his career, but congrats to him. Now let's get into the All Star race itself.
Which is a mirror image of the truck race, honestly.
I was just about to point that out. Kyle Larson, while in the truck race he didn't lead all of the laps, but in the All Star race it felt like that he led all the laps. There was even a point to where Kyle Larson was 12 seconds ahead of the field. And this wasn't pit strategy. This wasn't anything of that nature. He was 12 seconds ahead. He was just that good.
I mean, it kind of was pitch strategy. When the caution came out for, I think, Stenhouse spinning, he decided to pit and take tires, drove back through the field, and then put the big gap on everyone.
I've seen a lot of people make comparisons of his performance to I believe it's the 1996 All Star race where it was the Jeff Gordon T Rex car, which was so disgustingly dominant that NASCAR had to ban that car. Fortunately, in this scenario, they didn't have to ban this car in particular, but yeah, congrats to Kyle Larson on the All Star win. This is his third All Star win at 3 different tracks, which is crazy to think about.
That's actually a really impressive stat, to be honest.
Yeah. And we're going to talk about Kyle Larson a little bit more, shall we? I don't think, while we give him enough credit for how talented he is, I think we need to talk about how good Kyle Larson actually really is because, not only is he good in the Cup Series, he is literally going to be quick and fast in anything that you put him in.
He's just one of those drivers that you should put him in any car and he's just really good no matter what. It might take him a minute at first to get a hang of it, but once he does, the field's in trouble.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see what his Indy 500 performance next year is going to look like, to be honest.
That should be interesting.
While it is a very, very different type of race car compared to what he's accustomed to, I definitely think that given the right time, given the right practice, given the right, uh, team combinations and all that, I think definitely that Kyle Larson could be a driver in that race too. I don't think that he's going to win per se, but I wouldn't rule out like a possible top 10.
He definitely would have. I don't think he'll win, but he'll definitely have a good shot at top 10 and maybe top 5 if the car's there, but we'll just see. That's still a year out.
Yeah, and I'm sure that probably the rest of this year or some point during the offseason that he's going to be testing a lot for that. So, um, it wouldn't, you know, shock me if he does like pretty decent in that race. All right, so that will do it for the kind of weekend recap and the Kyle Larson bit of the show. Now we enter our next topic of the show, and that is what's next for North Wilkesboro Speedway. We kind of talked about it last week's episode with me and you, Teal, and we talked about the potential idea of North Wilkesboro getting the Cup Series date. Do you think after this race that that's still on the table?
I think there's a chance. Um, if it stays the All Star race from now on, that's cool. It's just good to see the track back. But if the racing at short tracks in general gets better, and North Wilkesboro like the races start becoming a lot better to watch, I think it'll get a full points race.
And one thing that I also want to point out, and a lot of people, obviously, the short track package with the next gen car, it's still not great. Obviously, we know this by now, but I do call this race a success, not because of the racing product itself, but mainly because of the atmosphere at that racetrack. Now, I wasn't there, obviously, but I think that you saw how packed the stands were for both the truck and the Cup Series race. It really shows that Wilkes County really cares about the racing. And also, that's going to generate a lot of revenue to that track.
It definitely will. I mean, the turnout was pretty good. It wasn't a complete sellout from what I've heard, but it was pretty close. I mean, even for the truck race, that place was packed.
When was the last time we saw a packed house for a truck series race? I honestly can't remember, to be honest with you.
I can't.
Like it's been a cool minute. I mean, when I went to Mid Ohio last year, there was a decent amount of people, but I wouldn't call it a sellout by any means necessary. But me personally, when it comes to the future of North Wilkesboro, I definitely think that it will stay on the schedule. There already are negotiations of uh, putting it back on the schedule next year. If they keep it as the All Star race, like you said, Adam, then I would be totally fine with that. But you just got to improve the short track package. Like it's like I've mentioned before, it's not a track problem. It's a package problem, and it clearly shows.
Yeah, it's the truck race was good. I mean, it was really good. They were a lot of close battles and stuff. So we know now it's not the track. It's far from the track. It's more of the cup cars just not running good on any short tracks at all right now.
Definitely not. Moving on to the next topic, and this is pretty much going to be we're going from kind of a lighthearted topic to a pretty sensitive topic, and this was after the race, after Kyle Larson took the checker flag. Both the 2311 cars of Bubba Wallace and Tyler Reddick actually finished second and third, which both those cars have had speed these recent weeks, especially the 23 of Bubba Wallace, who came home second. If you want to count the last three races, Bubba Wallace has had three top fives.
Starting to put together maybe a really solid season right now.
And what I've noticed from Bubba is that he doesn't start off the year really super quick. He kind of starts off a little bit shaky, but then he builds up as he goes along the season. So, and I think right here is definitely no different. But this topic that I'm about to bring up is not what I would call. This has nothing to do with performance, by the way, but it is a sensitive topic. After the race, there were some derogatory comments made after the race on Bubba Wallace's radio. What basically happened was that By the way, this is not the first time that fans have hijacked a radio in the during in like radio scanners in the sport before. This has happened multiple times, but this one is quite different because there were some fans that said some pretty not so nice things to Bubba Wallace. I'm not going to share the voice audio clip. Um, but I will say that but I am going to say what they said because it needs to be said. The fans said don't come go back to where you came from and you don't belong in NASCAR.
Nah, I don't care who you are. That is messed up.
And listen, I don't care. I don't have a side, and I'm not gonna. I'm gonna leave politics out of this for a second because this is. You cannot tell me that that was not racially motivated.
I mean, yeah, it definitely was.
And I've seen a lot of. I don't even know why I watch these conservative video like channels because I just want to watch them just to see how stupid they are when it comes to certain sports topics nowadays because they claim everything is woke all of a sudden when in reality dude, if you have a problem with certain shit then just don't bring it up. But anyways, they even one conservative channel thinks that this is just another quote unquote hoax made by Bubba Wallace. Like, are you freaking kidding me, dude? Really? You
Oh
honestly
my
think
god.
that dude, you can how can you say that's a hoax? I would love to know how people think that's a hoax.
Oh, I didn't hear about that, but alright.
No, well, obviously you didn't, but like I said, I was watching this one video channel. I think the channel's name is like Black and White Sports, I believe. And they don't really talk. They're not really a sports channel. They just talk about shit that they consider, political in sports. But they think that this was just another made up hoax, and they think that this was not racist at all. How? Okay, Adam, and I want to ask you something, and I want you to be honest with me. How many times, if you saw a conversation between a white and black man saying the white man says, "Go back to where you came from. You're not welcome here." What would you think that's racist or not?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna try to draw a lot out of this for the try to draw a lot of things out of this to increase the episode, but that's just bad, bro. And it's actually kind of shitty how Bubba deals with first of all, if you don't like Bubba Wallace simply because of his attitude or what he does on the racetrack, then that's totally fine. That's completely valid. But if you just hate the man because of quote unquote other reasons, then I'm sorry, dude, you have a ton of issues.
I mean, I get if you don't like him because he's just not your type of driver or whatever, but come on. Let's be real here. Any driver by race, yeah, it's messed up.
Yeah, literally none. This goes for any athlete, but anyways, I just wanted to get that off my chest, ladies and gentlemen. We're already 14 minutes into the show. Like I said, it's not going to be the longest episode in the world, but going back to the fans real quick, NASCAR is launching an investigation, which ideally, it's not a bad thing to do, but at the same time, how in the hell are they going to track? Dude, I don't even know how the hell they're going to track down those fans.
I don't even know if he can.
Not really, unless there's some secretive shit through scanners that we did not know about until this point, and people are just being notified of it just now. But hopefully, um, Matter of fact, I don't care if it's going to be towards Bubba or any driver. I think that they need to find a better way of stopping like people hacking the radios or some shit like that. Like, I don't know how they're going to do it, but like that shit honestly needs to stop.
It really does.
Because not only are you being a dumbass, but like you're also interfering with a driver and their crew chief trying to communicate to each other on how they're gonna, you know, how this race is gonna play out and how well they're gonna run. That's like when people back in the day used laser pointers at like football games and shit like that. You remember that shit?
Dude, that is so messed up.
Bro, like people don't understand like you can blind someone's eye for doing that shit.
Oh my god. There was somebody that was shining flashlights and laser pointers, I think, at like planes and helicopters that went overhead. That immediately made me think of it. It's like, oh, that's stupid.
Yeah, like why even bother doing that? I honestly have no idea. All right, now moving on to more light-hearted topics. It was announced today. It was announced yesterday or today. I honestly don't remember. That it was announced by Jordan Bianchi and the Athletic that Josh Berry and Stewart Haas Racing officially are working on a contract for him to drive in replacement of Kevin Harvick um for next season. It's officially official. Now, if you told me at the beginning of the year, and I think I've mentioned this before, if you told me at the beginning of the year that Josh Berry would replace Kevin Harvick in the four, I would have said that you were absolutely ridiculous by saying that because I wouldn't have thought that.
I wouldn't have thought that either, but if he does, and everything goes through, and he's in the four car next year, that's pretty cool.
The only thing I'm really curious about is how sponsorship is gonna play out because um from what I've been hearing that Anheuser-Busch is going to be leaving Stewart Haas Racing and potentially joining Team Trackhouse Racing, preferably Ross Chastain. I don't know if that's still going to happen or not, but I think Josh Berry definitely has some backers behind him, so I don't think he has to worry too much about sponsorship. But we really got to ask ourselves: did Stewart Haas Racing make the right move?
I think if you give Josh Berry some more time and experience in Cup, I mean, he's already ran a good amount for Elliott and Bowman, and he's done well in them for just kind of being thrown in there. So I think he could actually have a really good future.
I have reason to believe that Stewart Haas Racing was actually eyeballing Zane Smith at first, but then saw what Josh Berry can do, and as a reserve driver for injured Cup drivers in the field, and they said, "Wait a minute, hold on now. I think we might have something with this Berry guy." And for any newcomers to the sport, Josh Berry, I would not consider a young gun because he's only 32 years old. In my opinion, he has a shot to be the next Greg Biffle because Greg Biffle, in his rookie year in Cup Series, he was 32.
I mean, he's definitely a lot older than most rookies, but he's actually like in the prime of his career. So
Yeah, definitely. You know, I definitely think that Josh Berry is definitely more of a. Well, I mean, he has a lot of years of racing left. You know, I definitely think that Josh Berry is more of a short term game than like a long term game that you would get with like Zane Smith. But um, don't get me wrong, I think Josh Berry is really, really talented. And if he deserves a shot in Cup, then I definitely think that this is definitely the way to go for him. And hopefully he makes the best out of his, time there.
yeah, hopefully does really good there. Stays at Stewart Haas for his career. Um, it would suck to see if he would be like go the way Cole Custer did where he's there for a couple seasons and then thrown back down into the Xfinity series. So
Although Stewart Haas Racing still has a shot to get Zane Smith, as the 10 car is still up in the air as to who's going to drive that car after Almirola retires. And the recent name that has been popped up is Harrison Burton.
that's interesting.
Yeah, Harrison Burton has actually entered the conversations of joining Stewart Haas Racing. Now, my whole take on this is that I think Harrison Burton definitely has a good head on his shoulders, but like his time in the Wood Brothers 21 is, how do I say it exactly without being rude or crude about it?
It's been rough.
It's been that time in his this time in that ride has left a lot to be desired. There we go. Those are the words that I'm looking for. And by the way, Harrison Burton wasn't technically this should have been Harrison Burton's rookie year in the Cup Series, because he was actually supposed to go to the Penske 22 last year in the Xfinity Series.
I was about to say, you might want to add the Xfinity series on that because that'd be pretty confusing.
Yeah, I had to stop myself. I'm like, wait, hold on. I didn't mean that he was going to replace Joey Logano. Team Penske would be dumb to do that. But
Especially with Cindric being so young and just kind of learning still, and Blaney being in the weirdest winless drought ever. Like, he can finish second only once, he just can't win.
and Blaney, out of all the races that Blaney has led 100 or more laps in, he has not won a single one of those races.
Yeah.
That's kind of crazy to think about. Because I think Blaney is definitely good, but like I said in the past, Blaney has not shown to us that he is that championship caliber threat that many fans claim him to be.
I mean, he could get a win and all of a sudden go off. I mean, it is the playoffs. He could just win at a random time, and next thing you know, he's in the season as champion. So,
And he's just now entering the prime of his career. He's only like 28, 29 years old. In race car terms and life terms, he's still really, really young. And, we'll see what happens. But going back to the whole Harrison Burton to SHR idea, I kind of looked at this idea and I'm just like, really? You want Harrison? Now, along with that rumor, if that were to become true, then it's possible that Zane Smith would actually take the 21.
I could see that. 21 could be a ride mostly for rookies. I do want to see the Wood brothers get at least one more win, so that way they'll be at 100. But I somewhat think the equipment has something to do with it. I mean, that's not exactly a top tier ride anymore.
They call it a Penske. Well, it is a Penske prepared car. It is prepared in their shop. But, obviously Roger Penske is mainly focused on his three main cars, being Cindric, Blaney, and Logano, other than the 21 and its, debauchery or whatever you want to call it. All right, now we're at the 24-minute mark of the show, and we have another quick topic to talk about. I'm not going to keep this topic really too long because we have the greatest weekend in American, well, not just in American, but the greatest weekend in all of motorsports to talk about. It was reported by Adam Stern that when it comes to streaming races for NASCAR's next TV deal, Amazon Prime is the favorite. Can't say I'm really shocked, to be honest. I mean,
it was gonna happen eventually.
Well, not only that, but like I kind of expected Amazon Prime to be the lead candidate because I mean, you look at what Amazon has done, throughout existence, and it's pretty self-explanatory once you see it.
Yeah, and I mean it could help the Cup Series if it goes there, but right now isn't it just the Xfinity Series that's looking to be streamed?
There are potential rumors that Xfinity may only be maybe stream exclusive only. I don't particularly agree with that for right now. I mean, keep in mind this is all rumors, this is all speculations. Nothing is official until the signature is signed on the dotted line. But if this is really gonna help, which there's pros and cons to this, by the way. The pro is that streaming TV is the way now. It's surpassed cable. It's becoming more and more national in this country as we go along. However, the con is that not everybody is able to access streaming TV. They are stuck with cable.
I mean, so that is true. You could be cutting off a good amount of people, but you could also gain a lot more fans by doing it.
I'll still watch the sport regardless. I will,
Same.
if I can't find, if I don't have the money to pay for it, dude, I'll just find some other way. I don't give a shit. And I just think that Amazon is just real.
I mean, they do post the races on YouTube,
They
so
do,
you watch them then.
or
Which that is one of the best things in the world.
yeah. By the way, my dad just walked in on me, so that's always nice. Are you winning, son? Yes, Dad. Yes, Dad. Yes, I am. I am running this show. Running this show with one of my friends. But no, I think it could be good and bad. So, like I mentioned, the whole pros and cons to it. All right, now let's get into one of two final topics of the show. Adam, it is Memorial Day weekend.
Yep. My favorite weekend out of the year.
And it's not just any ordinary weekend. You have patriotism. We remember those who have fallen for our country. And we also get to watch racing until our heads completely blown off. You have the Monaco. See, I look at Memorial Day race weekend as breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Breakfast, you have Monaco. Lunch, you have the Indianapolis 500. And then you have dinner, which is the Coca-Cola 600.
Yep.
That
And
that is like Go ahead.
last year, I didn't really get to watch Monaco at all. I was heading over to Indy. Got to listen to a little bit. Watched the Indy 500 in person. That was amazing. If you haven't gone, I highly recommend it. But then on the way back, I had to listen to the first stage and a little bit of the second stage on MRN. And then watch the last half of the Coke 600. So this year, it'll be the first one in a minute that I've watched all three, or at least try to. So that'll be cool.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna get up. Probably. Well, I mean, hey, you and I did talk about, I believe last night, how weather is permitting some certain things, and mainly at Charlotte, which the truck race tonight will probably have no problem. I would say that the truck race will get in tonight. Xfinity and Cup, however, is the big unknown. However, if you are planning to miss the race potentially on Monday, guess what? There's not a problem. You probably don't have shit to do on Monday considering it's Memorial Day.
I mean, yeah, that is true.
Well, especially for my case, because I don't really have any. Well, not really any. I don't have school on that day. So I see it as an absolute win. But I just think we look at this weekend and we see, we see a lot of historic things throughout at this weekend. Like remember 2011, the Indy 500, Coke 600, those two finishes.
Yep.
You have J.R. Hildebrand, who, dude, I still don't know to this day how the hell that he choked that.
I mean, he was trying to pass the lap car, didn't slow down, and
Oh, he got too
that's all
excited.
it takes.
He got too excited.
He got too far up the track, and after that, you just can't come back from that far. If you look, he's gone.
Yeah, and
Should have
like
just let off. He had a big enough lead. He would have been fine.
over the late Dan Weldon.
Rip, man.
Yeah, 2011 was a tough year for race fans. But then in the Coke 600 later that night, Dale Earnhardt Jr. It looks like he is going to end his long winless streak. Oh no!
Fuel.
He runs out of fuel, and then Harvick takes his. I think that's Kevin Harvick's only Coke 600 win.
I think it is.
Well, wait, hold on a minute. Let me think. Oh shit, that may be his only Coke 600 win. Holy shit. I thought he won one in 2014, but I'm like, oh no, wait, no, that was Jimmy Johnson who did that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. But now, ladies and gentlemen, we get into the final part of the show, and that is the race picks. I know it is not a long episode, but we are going to keep things short. We don't want to interlude with the truck race because, well, we don't want to keep you guys waiting to see this episode. So let's get into it. Tonight's race, it is the North Carolina Education Lottery. Lottery 200, I believe it's called. And for my pick that race, I am picking the driver who has been solid this year, and I think we'll get a second one of the year, and that will be Corey Heim.
I'm going to say Zane Smith.
Ooh, that's a good one. Also, a driver I think you should really watch out for is Rajah Caruth. He did qualify fourth. His best qualifying position. I think Rajah has had speed the past few weeks, except for North Wilkesboro. That shit don't count. He had nowhere to go when Tyler Ankrum ran up the racetrack and just did the goofy. I was sad. I was sad when that happened.
And since it's Memorial Day weekend, I'm saying we should do picks for all the racing series.
I'm glad you brought that up. We were going to do that. All right, now, I still don't know if this race is happening tomorrow, but tomorrow is the NASCAR Xfinity Series. It is the Alsco Uniforms 300. I feel like that they use that race name for like 2 to 3 times a year.
I swear, it's like always around, no matter what.
Hey, you know what, man? Keep pouring in that sponsorship money if you ask me. All right.
Sponsor every race if you can.
Shit, Daytona, All-Star Uniforms 350. Oh, the Chicago Street Course? Guess what? All-Star Uniforms 300. All right, but no, in all seriousness, though, if this race does run tomorrow, I've actually practice and qualifying did happen earlier today, and there is some notable names in the field. You have Kyle Busch and Ty Gibbs are actually in the field, but I'm actually going to go for an Xfinity Series driver. I try not to pick leeches, if you want to call them that. I try not to pick them, but if I had to pick an Xfinity Series guy who I think was really, really fast, I'm going to pick Justin Allgaier. He actually did end up winning the pole. So, yeah, I'm going to go for the 7th of Justin Allgaier.
That's who I was going to pick as well.
All right, so we're both on the Allgaier hype train.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, it's about time that Junior Motorsports had shit gone their way this year.
They've had so many bad things.
I literally,
bro, it's like self-destructing.
Bro, when I went to Talladega, I literally saw all 4 of them bitches wreck.
They had that race won.
Bro, I literally saw all 4 of them. Dude, all 4 of them cars never came out clean, bro. And I saw that in person. All right, now we get into not just the Coca-Cola 600, but we also get into the Monaco Grand Prix and the Indianapolis 500. Started off with Monaco. Believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, I do keep up with F1. I do watch it. But as for the driver who I think will win the Monaco Grand Prix, he did end up winning it last year, and I think it will be Sergio Perez winning it.
That's a solid pick. I'm going to go with this teammate. I'm going to say Max Verstappen wins the Monaco GP.
And Red Bull has, and by the way, Red Bull has literally won every single goddamn thing. So
And they finished 1-2 in every one of them, I think, so far. So
the only other driver that's come close to competing with them is like Fernando Alonso, bro.
yeah,
Which, by the way, Fernando Alonso having a really solid season, podium after podium, baby. Let's go.
you love to see that.
I hope he does win a race, bro. Let's make it interesting, bro. Get some parity going. All right, now we get into the lunch segment, aka the Indianapolis 500. The oh, my fault. The 107th running of the Indianapolis 500. Now, I've watched, every practice so far, and I've seen drivers. I'm really looking at the McLaren cars, McLaren Arrow to be exact. By the way, you got to be specific on what McLaren you're talking about these days. But as for, hey, I mean, at least McLaren did win something this year. Kyle Busch, he had McLaren as a sponsor.
Hey, that was Grills.
Hey, a McLaren won still. Hey, at least you could say a McLaren won. But no, in all seriousness though, um, I'm actually gonna pick the driver who actually finished runner up and could have probably made a last lap move over Marcus Ericsson to win it last year. I'm gonna pick Pato O'Ward to win the 107th running of the Indianapolis 500.
That's a good pick. Now, I'm going to pick somebody who's won it before.
Ooh.
He won it 5 years ago.
Ooh.
He's starting in the same spot as his car number, and he's the reigning IndyCar champion. I'm going to say Will Power wins it.
That would not be a bad pick.
If you look at the recent practices, he's been first in practice 7 or 8. I can't remember which one. And then on carb day today, he was third. So he's got a good car.
See, I'm glad that your driver's doing well. My driver, on the other hand, in IndyCar, I can't. Well, I mean, he's not been doing terrible, but like, I just want him to win. Ladies and gentlemen, in case you didn't know, I am a big Colton Herta fan. All right, now we get into the main event, and this probably might be the most exciting event of the day, of the weekend, because I mean, we saw how last year's race turned out. It is the Coca-Cola 600, ladies and gentlemen, NASCAR's longest race that they will do all year long. Who is going to win, Adam? You pick first.
I'm going to go with my favorite driver. I think he does something that his father never could. I'm going to say Chase Elliott wins.
Bill Elliott never won a Coke 600?
Nope.
I could have sworn that he did.
Nope.
I'm tripping then. All right, so for me, this is one of the few races that I really look forward to all year long, because you never know what's going to happen. You can either get a crazy bombastic race that you did last year, which, by the way, that's one of my favorite races that I've watched all time as a NASCAR fan. And
that was
like, let's be real, bro. Everything that you could imagine in last year's race did happen.
I mean, yeah, quite literally. Larson was on fire at one point. There was a car flipping through the infield. Never thought I'd see that at Charlotte.
Been a while since we had one of those.
Really close battles. Kyle Busch losing it, and then finishing second.
Goated shit right there.
I was actually heading back from Indianapolis when on the radio I was like, "Oh, Kyle Busch is spinning." That was something.
And then he's on the final restart on the outside, and then I'm just like, are we gonna win this shit? Like, really? Unfortunately, that didn't happen, and it ended up being his former teammate or teammate at the time, Denny Hamlin. Now, I'm not picking Denny to
Me.
win this race. However, Adam, when was the last time we had an underdog win?
Depend like the Coke 600 or racing in general.
It could be both, if you ask me.
Well, we're doing talking about all like the races this year. Stenhouse in the 500. I'd count him as an underdog. Um, and then Coke 600. Maybe Dylan in 2018.
17.
17, yeah.
18 was Kyle Busch. Ironically.
That's right. I keep forgetting that, like, Dylan didn't win the 600 in the same year as the 500. I don't know why you get that mixed up.
Nah, it's all good. I mean, you were close though. I mean, they he did win two crown jewel races in back-to-back years. But however, I want to go for an underdog this year. I don't know why, but like my mind was circulating on one driver in particular. He's had speed at a lot of places, but just can't get the finishes. Um, however, my main winner pick is a realistic one. Um, I would not be shocked if Kyle Larson wins his second Coca-Cola 600. However, if you want an underdog winner, I want to see Ty Gibbs in victory lane.
That'd be a really big first win.
Hey, I mean, Jeff Gordon did it in 1994, and
So you're saying Ty Gibbs is going to be the next Gordon?
well, I'm not. Well, I mean, hey, I mean, I think Ty Gibbs is gonna be. I think he has the potential to be a really big superstar in the sport. We've seen. I mean, can we agree that he's had a really solid rookie year so far?
For rookie year, yeah. Man, he's not really had any bad races. He's just had mediocre. But then he's had some solid ones.
Then you had that four. Then you had that 4 week stretch where he finished top 10 at four different track surfaces. Might I add?
Yeah, he definitely is starting to show a little bit of promise as the season heats up. Next year, I think he's going to go through a sophomore slump, but
By the way,
he's going to be
I want to
better.
point out that the All Star Open incident between Ty Gibbs and Michael McDowell, the battle of the saints of the church. Now we've seen in the past how when Ty Gibbs kind of gets roughed up, how he kind of loses his head, but this time he kept it cool. Like
He just kept on driving.
I don't know what it is this year, but like doesn't Ty Gibbs seem like a robot? Like he just seems like too calm.
He could be kind of shocked with how the Cup Series is.
He like you see him in interviews, he's just like, yeah, I'm just really proud of the Camry. You know, we're just gonna go out there and race. That's it.
He's kind of turned into a second Chase Elliott, honestly.
You trying to
For
say
like
Chase?
his personality.
Chase has no emotion?
Oh, I wouldn't say that. He just doesn't show as much.
Yeah. All right, but
That's some of the best sarcastic comments, so I don't care what anyone says.
yeah. All right, people. So technically, I cheated. I had two picks, but my main pick is actually Kyle Larson. I just think the momentum is in his favor right now, and you know, if that five car gets off to a quick start in that 600, you could probably kiss that win goodbye, ladies and gentlemen.
I mean, never know. It's the longest race.
Yeah, I'm not saying Cliff Daniels is known for screw ups, but you cannot mess up in this race.
No.
You
You
like
can have maybe a mistake in the beginning, but after that, you better not have any.
yeah, because like in the beginning, like you have plenty of time to make it up.
Oh, yeah.
And we saw that with last year, but like if we're like talking about like the last 25 laps of the race, then oh boy. I don't know about
You
that.
make a mistake there, it's over.
Yeah, pretty much. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that will wrap it up for this week's episode of the Checkers and Wreckers podcast. As always, I am Carter Leonard.
And I'm Adam Schwab.
All right, people, and we will see you guys next time. Bye bye.